Into. In.
Welcome to me.
I wasn't ready. We're doing this again. Oh, you ruined it. Oh, welcome to me time. What is this now? Oh, this is the big one. Episode 13.
Yeah.
Oh, for those of you that watched my update video, you will know that this is it. This is the last episode in the current run of Me Time to the mid-season break. So we're halfway there with the agendas, that we have discussed and we've planned out. So, we will discuss that at the end of the episode. So, because we want to dive straight into this content and finish our current agenda of Attack on Titan, which has been fun. Yeah. Needless to say. Yeah.
Fun and dark.
Fun and dark. And I remember I had loads of fun analysing the narrative in the first episode. And last week's episode 12, it got really interesting discussing the elements of monstrosity in humanity, like creating weapons and that sort of stuff. And we're going to run with that into the last one with using the Attack on Titan story to analyse the complexities of justification and ruination was the word that we came up with as well. It's a tough topic. Something that we definitely wanted to talk about. We aren't going into specific nitty-gritty real-world stuff because you guys seen the news. We're not. We're not going to go on sort of specific things going on right now. That's not what we're about. We're not here to call anyone out, anything. We're just going to discuss. And if you've watched Attack on Titan, you will basically know why we're choosing to talk about this. And if you haven't, hopefully this discussion is going to give you a good basis to watch the show, to get intrigued, to know it's not just a show about humans fighting monsters. It's so much more than that. And the layers of it goes so much deeper. I think the show in its foundation is more just narrative and conflict in general. So I think to start this, I would like to personally go back to the roots of Attack on Titan, the start, which is why I like My Hero Academia, our agenda of My Hero Academia. We discuss the show and what got us into it from what we believe the show was. So obviously mine was just music and inspirational heroes, and it became something else. So Attack on Titan, I watched the show thinking it was going to be humans versus Titans. Yeah. You sold the show to me in that very way. And you said, don't believe what you think the show is. It's not going to be a basic conflict of humans versus monsters. It's going to be more than that. Yeah. I was confused at the time. And then we got to the episode where we believe Eren got unalived by the Titan. The protagonist himself, not even halfway through the series of the first series, it is very believable in the way you think he passed away. He's in the mouth of a Titan. He's about to jump out, save the day. The Titan's mouth shuts and his limbs snap off. And that's it. You don't see him for another episode, if I'm not mistaken. And you don't even know it's him. No. You see the Titan version of Eren, but you don't know it is Eren within the Titan until some exposition unfolds in the episode after that as well. Yeah. That blew my mind. And I genuinely thought in that moment, so this show is going to try to be different. It's going to try and break the mold and have these subtleties beneath the surface that we aren't going to know until we see it. And that intrigued me. Later on, Series 2 and Series 3, it was Titans versus humans, Titans versus Titans, humans becoming Titans, fighting humans becoming Titans. And then it got to that, I thought, the maximum capacity of how far you could take it, like transforming into Titans transforming back into humans, etc. I thought that was the maximum output. But there were still questions left unanswered that we finally got to at the end of Series 3, the biggest teaser at the start of Series 1. I'm going to show you what is in my cellar, Eren, and that's going to explain why I'm doing what I do. We got to the cellar, and you know where I'm going with this, because I said this is my ideal focus for that. I promise you I hadn't rehearsed this.
Yeah.
We get to Series 3, we get to the end, and obviously, heroes win the day. The villains that we're perceived go. They don't, by the least part, unalive. They're still very much alive, but they flee. And we find the answers, and the answers are all above and beyond what we think. Because Attack on Titan takes place in this sort of like dystopia. That's the best way to say it. Like, they don't have the most advanced technology that they have are these projectile belts that essentially are like the quickest abseiling things, like darting around. That is the most advanced technology they have. And rifles and weapons have only just started to become like prevalent.
Yeah, they're all sort of single shot. That's all.
Yeah, they're all single shot and very, I don't know, time period wise, pretty pre-modern. I'd say pre-modern phase.
Yeah, you're kind of moving into automatic sort of thing. You're not quite there yet. There, I think it kind of gets towards the end of the show. It does start introducing like the more automatic guns, and that's like, hello.
Yeah, it does, because we then are revealed the past of Eren's father, much older than obviously the protagonists, and his homeland was a completely different country, and technology, industrialization has exploded. So not only for the first couple of series do we think that this is the time period in the world that they're in, these guys have been sheltered and isolated deliberately from the rest of the outside world that have made leaps and bounds in technology industrialization. There's cars, there's blimps and Hindenburgs, that sort of stuff. There are planes, there are boats, there's power as well. And I remember at that moment, I looked to Elliott and I thought, what's going to happen now? This is, now that they know that there is a world outside the world, what's going to happen? And that intrigue is the roots of why we came about this episode topic.
Yeah, so they're kind of isolated to like a feudal era, maybe. I think so. Like that's all sort of, or maybe Victorian in regards to where Eren starts off as how his sort of home life is, sort of like the mum's doing dinner, but the way in which she's preparing it is all sort of very Victorian, or like the way she's washing her clothes is sort of in a bucket and then she'll hang them up, sort of thing. And then you go to the more modern setting and you're introduced to sort of cars and I think there's even bikes or other stuff, but like that sort of pre-industrial sort of area sort of thing where you kind of, they're just in the process of kind of they're still a bit scrappy in the way they're designed, but they're sort of that prerequisite before they get into the complete modern.
Yeah. I want to start with Grishna. I do. Eren's father. Because he was a boy that was raised in this era, this time. It's not very much like present day us now, but he was raised in a time where this civilization was created in fear of another country. They grew this protection, almost a wall in a way, against the island devils, they called them. We know them as subjects of Ymir because Ymir was the first Titan, and all Titan powers and the abilities of Titans stem from that first original metamorphic primal creature combining with Ymir to create the Titan, which was really cool that we got to the origin. I love a good origin drop. Yeah. And that origin did not disappoint me. No. So the Island Devils were they feared that the powers of these Titans were going to be used against them to rule the world, wreak havoc, cause ruination and destruction. So what did they do? They isolated them there, and they used the powers of the founder to wipe everyone's minds of the truth. And on top of that, they kept some of the subjects of Ymir with them so they could use the powers of the Titans to defend themselves. Now, Grishna didn't know this at first. He perceived this as basic segregation. You either have a red bandana or you have a yellow one.
Yeah.
So that shows you that you are either a Malian or a subject of Ymir. Do you remember this now?
Yeah.
Now, there were the limitations. You guys live here. You guys live here. And if you cross, you need a permit. The only ones that could were the chosen Titans.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of Zeke's mentor, and that's really, really bad. He was the one that introduced him to baseball. He had the glasses. But we learn the tragedy of this outside of even any concept of any Titans first, when Grishna and his sister purely wanted to cross the border into Mali to see the industrialization, to see the planes, to see the boats, to see all of that. And what happens? Malian soldiers come along and they say, you're not supposed to be here. And they unalive his sister, his young sister. She is beaten she's beaten I'm not going to say this. She's beaten to death.
Yeah.
She is. It's a horrible scene. And she's not even 10 years old. She's probably even younger.
Yeah.
And they take her life because they view her as lesser. She's
They do it out of fear because their original programming, for lack of a better term, is
rebellion,
instinctive fear. Like, what can these people do, sort of thing.
If one person crosses the border, then the rest of them will.
Yeah, I mean, so sort of. Fear is interesting again because, like, if the programming's there to then justify it, I mean, it's not. It's kind of weird where you can kind of want on one side kind of go, I can justify it, and on another side you kind of go, you can't justify it. But because they're not privy to information they don't know, they can't make a correct judgment, and in not making a correct judgment, they do something terrible, and they won't know that until all the information's out there.
Which is, I would say, from what you've just said, perfect foreshadowing for what we eventually will talk about in this episode, something called the rumbling. We will get to that, which is the perfect culmination and exaggeration of justification and ruination. Yeah. So I will, and I do want to take a little bit more of a different approach with this. Instead of analysing Attack on Titan, I want it to be a theoretical discussion that me and you have. So we're in Grishna's shoes.
Yeah.
Okay. I can see your face just go, ooh.
Yeah.
So we have, it doesn't have to be a younger sister, it's just a younger sibling. And we're in the same context. Okay?
Yeah.
This happens to us. What is our human nature to do then? Obviously Grishna's was, I want to fight back. This isn't fair. What happened to my sister wasn't fair. They deserve to pay. What would you think?
I mean, you definitely starve that way. There's no denying that. You would like to think you'd be able to sort of evolve to maybe sort of introduce your enemy to the information that they perceive as wrong. The only problem you have is indoctrinations are so strong, even to them trying to debate them.
Yeah,
is insanity. Like, how, even if you try and discuss them, how can you negotiate if they won't even acknowledge it? It's a really it's an interesting scenario we have now between two different sides. I won't go into the details.
No, of course. That's completely fair.
Where there is no middle ground reached because no side's listening to each other. Everyone's sort of too combined in one scenario. Too combined in their sort of one tribe, maybe. But I'd like to think I'd try and do something like that first. Try and sort of like, here is some new information. Whether that admittedly they'll have their own justifications for why they do what they do. But if you can negotiate middle ground, is where you want to kind of hopefully stay.
Which is the ideal world.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
It's the ideal world.
But this is, I'll relate it to myself here. I always like to find the middle ground. Conflict is inevitable sometimes. I'm not saying I do that because I don't like violence. I despise conflict. I despise violence in whatever shape or form in the real world. Now, to get to the bottom of why someone wants to start conflict or feels a certain way, to get to that middle ground and then to get them to understand you, your perspective, in most day-to-day scenarios, like a minor disagreement, you'd be able to do that.
Yeah.
For instance, I don't know, you get a text from your friend and they say, oh, I'm busy this weekend, sorry. And then you go out to town and you see them with another group of friends or something like that. Obviously, in that moment, you think, what the hell? Yeah. You're lying to me. And then...
I just call them out there and then. I just call them out there and then.
Yeah.
I used to hesitate, like, nah.
I wanted to use that as an example because this is something that me and you have experienced, you know? Because there's a right and a wrong way of going about it. You just go up to them and you just go like, what the hell? And then you want to hear them out.
Yeah.
You do. You don't want to cut them off there and then. You just want them to have justification. Well, okay, so why are you doing this? And then hypothetically, they turn around and go, I haven't met out with this group of friends for a while. I didn't think this would be your scene. I didn't think this would be your group of people.
Yeah.
Now that you're here, you're welcome to join us. I'm really sorry that I left you out, but I just wanted to be a bit protective of you and them.
Yeah.
And in that scenario, you just go, that's very kind of you for thinking that, but that's for me to decide, not for you to decide, that sort of stuff. And you get to that middle ground. You go out with them. Turns out you don't like them. And they're exactly the way that they're described. And you go, you're a real one. Thank you. Or you do end up. And then they turn around and go like, my sincerest apologies. I read that completely wrong. I'm sorry. You know? You get to the bottom of it. Then let's take it from the Grishna perspective.
Yeah.
If he saw his group of friends at that point, now I'm not saying this man is very conflict based. He's not. If anything, he despised conflict as well.
Yeah, I mean, conflicting was his sort of last resort. He didn't. Conflict was his last resort.
Always his last resort. He was a man of idealism, I'd say. He inspired people around him with the ideology that we deserve to be free, we deserve to be able to do what we want, and they should not be the oppressors here. They have less rules than us. We should be equals.
Yeah.
Now, what first started as something that his parents said you shouldn't do, you're going to get in trouble, you're going to endanger yourself here, it started into rebellion.
Yeah.
He found like a little following, inspired that following. He fell in love with a woman and they gave birth to a child named Zeke. And in that moment, he was in the deep end. Grishna was in the deep end of, if I keep doing this, we stand a chance. There was hope.
Yeah.
And starting a family, he wanted Zeke to be part of that hope. Of course, you bring a child into this world, you want to look after your child, you want them... Most parents do want their child to follow in their footsteps. Most. Not all of them. Not all of them.
I think it's not even that, he wanted a world where his child could then...
Be free.
Thrive, be free sort of thing. You want to sort of have a world where your child can sort of live a happy life sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of the primal sort of instinct of
It is,
What-
and that's been the same since the first human. It has always been the way. I'd say Grishna did. It's tough. His justification here purely was on the principle that he believed that he was doing the right thing. At the root of it, I'm looking after my sister, I'm avenging my sister, I'm looking after my people, I'm looking after my son. I should do this. And we start this perspective in series 3 from Grishna's perspective. And we then see Zeke as his son at the time rat him out to the authorities of Marlians. And as from the way it's presented, the first time you watch it, you think, what a cock. You do. Yeah. You do genuinely think, why did you do that? And you see that he had a connection with his grandparents.
Yeah.
And the grandparents always told Grishna, you shouldn't do this. You're endangering yourself. So Zeke turned around to the grandparents and said, Dad's doing this. And then the grandparents told the authorities.
Yeah. This is not unusual. It's not unusual one day, though, for it to happen. There's a few stories one day where they go, oh, hang on. And that's where you're kind of introduced to that sort of... So you've got the sort of rebellious sort of maybe first generation. And then second generation is kind of brought in through the normal system. And they see their sort of how their parents are acted as immoral.
Yeah.
Until later on in life, they go, oh, hang on, I understand now. Which I think is what happens.
It's a subject. Yeah, it's a subject I really want to divulge into, but I don't think it's necessarily too appropriate. But I'll say some things on it because I don't want to just dodge the subject altogether. So we later learn in series 4 that it's serious neglect. It's serious neglect. Zeke only wanted the love and adoration of his father and his mother. He only wanted to be a child that played sports, does a day-to-day thing that he perceived it as a normal child would, go to school, learn, do things. And no, he was the son of the inspiring face of the rebellion. So when he turned around and said, like, no, I don't want to do it, his father was just like, well, you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
If you go against the flow, you're going to get hurt, and I don't want that. You need to listen to me here. I want you to be okay. So in that moment, the parents rejected what the child wanted, and the child didn't feel loved, wanted, needed, and that was the way it continued. Zeke found solace, luckily, in someone else. Please do not do not despise me for not knowing this man's name, but it was the original Beast Titan at the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He was. So the pair of them bonded, and he then basically said, look, you should be a child. You should do what you want. You should have your own form of peace. And in the end, out of the respect that he was getting from his grandparents, Zeke turned around and said, like, I don't want to keep doing this. I want to be a child. Unintentionally ratting out his parents. In a moment of pure love and confession to his grandparents, he said, Mum and Dad make me do this, and I don't want to do that. I want to play baseball. The grandparents, all they heard was, they're doing what?
Yeah.
And again, that moment, they didn't hear Zeke. They didn't hear Zeke at all.
No.
And this led Zeke down a path like Grishna. Zeke, this neglect, pushed him more towards the mentor of the Beast Titan. He became the Beast Titan and realised what he could do. I'm going to stop this rebellion. All of this nonsense, once and for all, because I despise it. And he resented his father massively after that moment. Do I get... I will get into this. I have seen parents bring children into the life that the parents enjoy, believing that the child will be okay nonetheless, because the parent enjoys themselves, the child is going to enjoy themselves as well.
Oh yeah, mirrored reality sort of thing.
Yeah.
So he's my.
You see what I'm saying here. I want to get into it, but I'm not trying to name names and put things out.
Yeah, no.
You know, my opinion, that's not the way. I've been a teacher. The child needs to discover themselves, and the parent has a life, does, but at the end of the day, needs to help and understand the child, nurture, put them on the path that the child needs to discover for themselves.
Yeah, let them be curious.
You know, a parent, curiosity. That's such a perfect way of putting that, Elliot. Everyone is curious day to day. Let the child find out who they want to be. Let the parent still needs to find out who they want to be. You know, their life has changed because the child's in it now. Maybe they can't do that job that they loved anymore because they need to afford for their child or something like that. They're down another path. They've got to find out who the new them is. You know, a family evolves together. You can't go against the flow because the flow is going to break someone.
I'm going to slightly push back slightly, just softly, where in the minute we're kind of having there's lots of broken families sort of thing. So one parent out sort of like pure, not, I don't know, I wouldn't even call selfishness, probably the wrong word, where they were kind of like brag maybe that their kids are getting really well with them and all that stuff. And that's okay until their mind evolves, until the kid evolves past their parent, and then they're going, oh, I'm not curious for these sort of questions. Or and that's a lot of different people, and also we sort of see certain variations, and sort of like the kid is locked into a certain point of view until he's not. until he or she is not.
There's like you said before, imprinting. It is. Yeah, honestly, I thought. To be fair, this is quite cute. Like a dad naturally supports a football team, and the son wants to be adored by their father. Comes along, sits down, and ends up watching football games with him because the dad would like that. I want you to play football or something like that.
Yeah.
And I've seen children naturally then support the same team as their father.
This was young enough.
At young age. It is, and but the thing is, that's lovely.
That's nice.
That's so nice because in trying to find a genuine hobby and trying to find respect from their parents, because let's face it, we all do want respect from a superior or a parent at the end of the day. They find themselves and they share a bond. That's lovely.
Yeah.
That's really nice. And I've seen that in reality. I've seen that in TV, movies, anime, whatever you want to say. I've seen that represented. And that always that touches my soul. Yeah, I love it. Take Izuku, for example, who really wants to do this hero shindig thing. Yeah. What does his mum do? She does pretends like she hides under the blanket, like, help me. And then he runs into the room and goes, I am here. I was just like, that's so adorable.
Yeah.
She's embracing what he loves, not rejecting it, you know? No son of mine, no daughter of mine, no, you know, I'm not having this in my family, this sort of, you know. Again, here we go. This is why we wanted to talk about it. There's a fine line, isn't it? It's...
Yeah, I mean...
Oh,
you're correct.
Toughy.
I mean, you're correct, but, you know, you can still sort of... You still question more in fact of... You're not questioning them directly. You're more questioning sort of making sure their ideas are found, are solid, maybe. It's probably the best way to put it. It's like, you definitely sure you're thinking this sort of stuff. You're sort of like just almost like sort of, I don't know, tempering sort of maybe in regards to like the questions you ask. Like, just slight tests in regards to your foundations are setting, where they're setting that sort of thing, and then let them kind of go in that foundational direction sort of thing.
I think that was the blessing of being a teacher for a while. I likened a child to a catalyst, honestly. So, for those of you unaware, because there will be some of you, and that's okay, but most of you that are aware of what a catalyst is, liken it to something that is the start of a chemical reaction, the start of something. So, catalytic converters in cars, you know what a catalytic converter is. Like, without them, the fuel could not produce and make the car go, you know? Something like that. Is that wrong? No! I'm going to cut this bit out. Yeah.
It's just a filter.
Fuck. That's not right. Catalytic. Oh, it converts. I got it. Yeah. Okay, cool. Motherfucker. Technical difficulties. Okay.
A catalyst accelerates a chemical reaction.
Okay. A catalyst accelerates a chemical reaction. Thank you. I might not cut this out then. No! But basically, I still rest my case. You know, I still liken it to that because they've got so much potential to create, you know? And with the knowledge that they are given, they churn out new things.
Well, it's not in the knowledge that they're given, which is interesting. Like, they are given new knowledge, but like...
The knowledge they discover, sorry.
So they'll bring in new knowledge, but then they'll kind of bring up new ideas.
I'm so sorry. I really tried to do that subtly. I'm so sorry.
So they're bringing new knowledge to then, but they kind of create new ideas with like lots of different thoughts, and that's kind of where I think, young minds sort of thrive.
Yes,
creating all that type of stuff.
Yeah,
that's kind of where they thrive, thinking up new ideas, and then that you'll kind of also see that in regards to how they question you, sort of thing. Like, why does this work? Why does this work? Why does that work? And then they mature and then they go, oh, what if I change this? What would happen here? Or everything like that. I think maybe to bring it back to AOT and maybe to bring it back to sort of...
Yes, I did want to come back to it.
Sort of Grishna again. I don't know. It doesn't really link that well.
You can say Eren if you want to, because he's all I want to talk about next.
Maybe Eren, we're like... Yeah, maybe Eren's a good example. Where, like...
Well, just say it and we'll see who we can...
You know, he grows up and... all the conversations he has with... Armin and...
Mikasa. Yeah.
To a degree, they're very surface level.
They
don't
know.
They don't really kind of go to...
All you know from Eren is he wants to be free.
Yeah.
He wants to be liberated.
They never question it. They're sort of like...
No.
They kind of go, oh, he wants to be free. All right, I'll take him what...
The basis was the ocean. They wanted to go to the sea. They had... It was literally freedom was a fairy tale to them. The outside world, outside the walls, was literally like sitting down and listening to a story of Red Riding Hood.
Yeah.
You know? They didn't think it was true.
Yeah.
They wanted to see if it was. They wanted that freedom to not be controlled by the Titans, you know?
Well, I think Armin was happy just by seeing the sea. Like, Armin could have gone home then and just like, okay, I'm done that. I'm happy sort of thing.
And sorry for jumping in there.
Yeah.
But the finale of Series 3, they do. Armin and Mikasa go into the sea and they're happy.
Yeah.
They have a smile on their face. Everyone has a smile on their face. Like, even Levi watches Hanji in the sea and he's just like...
Yeah.
Everyone's happy. Who's not happy? Eren. Eren is the only one not smiling. He's looking into the distance and everyone's like, you alright, fam? And he goes... And he points and goes, out there, across the sea, that's where our true enemies are.
Yeah.
Red flag.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Is it? But like he's never questioned it. It's like everyone sort of accepts it and goes, okay, we'll just find out our own some more sort of thing. It's like, at that point you could have called him out, kind of went, what do you mean we're done now, sort of thing. At that point you could have maybe had a larger conversation with him in regards like.
Thing is, yeah.
What do you mean? Sort of like really sort of dig into like what he's really thinking.
He didn't get pushed to that until he kissed Astoria's hand.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Because he was fine. He probably would have gone to the ocean and he would have been like, yeah.
Yeah.
But then he kissed her hand, and when he had contact with her, physical contact, that's when he unlocked the vision of the past and the future and everything.
Yeah.
It was just the path, and you saw on his face a just look of sheer horror, and from that moment on, I wouldn't say he changed. I wouldn't say Eren was just, he transformed into a villain. He just knew more. He basically knew from the single, essentially me doing that, I just unlock basically every reasoning of everything that's happened and the paths of the future as well.
Yeah.
And that is enough to make a man go, whoa.
He kind of unlocks that curse of knowledge. Where, like,
the curse of knowledge,
yeah. Well, like he's I know too much. No one else can understand what I know. Oh my god. But like he doesn't give.
He pushes himself away from everyone, basically.
Yeah, he pushes himself away, but then everyone else is sort of scared to talk to him because it's like, oh, hang on, does he know a lot now?
He's essentially the most powerful person there at that point in time. He's the only Armin is a Titan shifter, but he's not going to use his power.
No, but like he's never spoken to after. He's never really properly spoken to after that moment.
No, not really. No,
it's just like that's the time where you kind of go, what do you see? What's going on?
Yeah.
How do we work it out? Is there another way of doing this sort of thing?
Yeah.
But none of those conversations happened. It was just Eren's leader. We'll follow him.
Basically.
Yeah.
So when it comes to justification and ruination with Eren, so we did speak about it with Grishna to conclude that sort of arc. It then got to the point where Grishna followed that path, and he then ended up on the island. So what does he do then? Obviously, he wants to come back. He wants to go back. He's just like, he's inspired by the owl, who is the original attack titan, and goes, you've got to do this. You've got to find the founder, take power, and we're going to bring the fight. We're going to bring the fight to Mali. We're going to do this, But he doesn't do it. He gets to the founder. Grishna gets to the founder, and he sees a family. He sees the life he could have had with Zeke in that moment, and he genuinely thinks in that moment, what have I done? I had the perfect life there, back there. If I listen to the rules, if I listen to everything, again, listen to the rules, that justification, none of this could have happened. I wouldn't have had ruin. And he buckles. So what happens then? Why does he still go through with it?
Exactly.
Eren tells him to.
Yeah, and
Eren tells him, get back up.
True.
You've come this far because of you. And you're buckling now. You're pathetic. Get back. He was shit talking him. You need to get back up. You need to do this.
Well, he was a broken man. Like,
Grishna was so broken.
He lost his family. He lost everything.
One of the most tragic characters in the show.
For him to kind of go, I should have followed the system, all that stuff. Like he sacrificed a ton. What Eren does is, he kind of feeds off of it.
Yeah.
Like he knows he's broken now, so. I can use that to motivate him to do something more.
Yeah.
Like, to a degree, for Grishna to kind of go back to normal. I would probably say sort of start again from scratch, try and create a new family, try and
Well, he tried to. Grishna tried to. Which is so shocking at that point. Because you have, obviously with the carves, Zeke has access. Zeke gained access to the carves. You have two sons from two different families with the same father. Zeke, the one who resented Grishna the most, sees a broken man and sees the justification of everything that Grishna has done to get to that point, and he thinks, this doesn't make sense. I always viewed my man as my father, my old man, as a man of rebellion. But he's just a human.
Yeah.
He wants a family, and Eren, hatred. He sees the man that has caused all of this unaliving and destruction and ruin over the past couple of years. Grishna has been manipulating both sons to do what he wants. But Eren has got to where he is now. And now he has a position where he could end all of this. So he has to pick up his father and go, you're a terrible person. Yeah. You are terrible. Own it. You get back up. You get the power because that is who you are. And that is who you made me. And Zeke is horrified. He's the man that hated Grishna the most. Zeke is sheer horror out of the whole scene. Grishna, when he's done, is screaming to the sky, is this what you wanted me to do, son? Are you happy now? Yeah. I unalive children. I unalive the family. I feel horrible. He sees Zeke, and all he can do when he sees Zeke is hug him and cry. It's like, I'm so sorry. Zeke forgave him, and then he turns around and goes, this justification of everything that we have done for the love of family, it's going to cause ruin. Yeah. It's going to cause carnage, destruction. You have to stop that.
There's that interesting sort of talking point that I keep sort of hearing occasionally called that is it the just war theory?
The what, sorry?
Just war theory.
Just war theory. No, I've never heard of that. No.
Where, like, does your justification for carrying out war make sense?
Oh, crikey. Yeah.
No, yes. And there's I can't remember the exact framework for it, but you've got to go through like a certain amount of checks before you go, okay, I can act out war, basically. I think Grishna kind of acts on a rebellion kind of for maybe like a small, for in a grand scheme of things, maybe a small cause, which is why it ends up so bad.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like it at the time, because what Grishna experiences, they're going, oh my god, that's gotta suck. But as you see those dominoes keep falling, it's like, oh, okay, now you're pushing it.
It's honestly so many dominoes. To get that, it's such a reward to get to that place in Series 4. It blew my mind how everything basically led to that moment because of Eren. And Eren didn't even know he was the one that brought him there. It's like, I have to make sure that my father gives me this power. Otherwise, I can't do what I'm about to do. So what is Eren about to do? The rumbling. Yeah. And the rumbling was almost like a prophecy, a hearkening from the Marlians. Just like the Titans will be led by the attack Titan and basically destroy all of humanity. And we know that's not true, because Titans were terrorizing the island. But what does Eren do? He makes that myth and that legend true. He gains the power of the founder, of the Warhammer, of the Beast, of the attack, and he literally becomes the epitome of the attack. He becomes the most powerful Titan. He wakes up all of the Colossal Titans, and then he basically tells every subject of Ymir, guys, I'm going to end this. Whether you like it or not, everyone outside of this wall is going. I'm going to remove them from existence. It's just going to be us. You're welcome. How do we unpack that nut?
Yeah. Well, his
justification and ruination of the rumbling. Yeah. That's ridiculous.
His justification was, I'm going to scare humanity to not do war anymore. To not.
The cycle must end.
Yeah. Yeah. Not do. I'm not wording it correctly. But sort of like to not fight anymore. Like I'll scare them into submission, sort of thing.
Yeah.
The details that we miss. Well, that's what we're given. Well, he'll scare them into submission and the war won't happen anymore. Well, what we never hear is that he'll scare them into submission by unaliving everybody. So there's no one to even have that motivation to even start a war.
Which is the turning point when he's basically saying, because Armin and Mikasa genuinely think the original plan was always take the fight to Marley. So Eren is going to go to Marley. The source of all of this, what Grishna wanted to defeat, the people that have isolated us, locked us away, they deserve to pay. So why has Eren woken up so many Titans? And then Eren does say to them, it's just like, everyone outside of this place has the capability to engage in this undeterring, unyielding cycle of conflict.
Yeah, I almost think about it. I almost think it's flawed when I look back at it.
Oh, absolutely.
You could, if you were to see Eren's plan go fully through, you could leave that population sitting there. You're
still going to have people.
You're still going to have someone at the top going, I'm now a leader, and you're now going to have this conflict again between...
There will always be.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could, if there's no order, if there's no rules or system, then it's chaos, and chaos will unalive people. It will. So what's there? What? Yeah, you have that horrible justification of I understand why you're doing this. If there are no people, if there are no people ever, there will be no people to start a war.
Yeah.
But if there are people, then a war might start. But then Eren then takes that far too far. He's like, I'm going to destroy everyone. Like, whoa. Who are you to know who everyone is?
Yeah.
Okay, there are good people and there are bad people. There are people, if you take the life of a good person, good person's relative, like Grishna, you're only going to inspire them to fight back.
Yeah.
Like with Garby. Garby's friends were destroyed by Eren.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Eren. You've inspired her to fight back. And Garby was inevitably Eren's end.
Yeah.
She destroyed Eren's body and only left him with a head.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Garby didn't know that all you need to transform into a Titan is your head. So,
well, Garby's interesting because when Garby was introduced, they're going, "Oh, she's annoying."
Oh, she's a brat.
And then you kind of realise, oh, hang on, she's going on Eren's arc, but it's like it's tweaked. So Garby's questioned every time.
Yeah. Her morals are absolutely the wrong way around.
Yeah.
She is from the perspective. She is a subject of Ymir, but she views the subject of the Ymir, her people, as devils.
Yeah.
It's like, thanks to them, we're oppressed by the Marlians.
Yeah, thanks to you. What?
Yeah. They give us a bad name. Yeah. Cheers, guys. Well done. But then she goes to the island and she finds out that they're just humans. They're actually decent people. They look after her. She's confused. Eren took the life of her friends. He's got to pay. He's got to. But her engaging in conflict came about ruination. She took the life of Sasha.
Yeah.
And in doing so, she realised, I've permanently destroyed the dynamic of the family, the only family on the island that stood up for me and cared for me. You see it in the end, in the flash forwards. You can see that she's given up the life of the warrior that she wanted.
Yeah.
Her and Colt. No, it's not Colt. I don't know, the bloody kid, the blonde boy that liked her. They're farming together. They gave up that life and they just want to be together and live. Don't blame them. But, you know, it's.
But Eren's very much kind of suffers with that sort of main character syndrome where, like, his path is pretty easy. Garby, on the other hand, even though she's on the same path, she has a lot of resistance in, like, her choices.
Yeah.
In the way she interacts with all the Titan team, for lack of a better term I can describe.
Yeah, I see Team Titan.
Yeah.
DC crossover confirmed. No.
Yeah, and she shoots
Sasha.
Yeah, she analyzes Sasha, and rather than her getting away with it, that Eren might do, she's questioned for it in regards to, like, why'd you do that? Like, there's like, you don't know her. Like, there's no.
They're devils. They deserve to pay.
Yeah.
You're taking the life of a human at the end of the day. You've got to be so sure that you're doing this.
Yeah.
And again, justification and ruination. When is taking life okay? In my opinion, it's not. But many people would disagree with that. That's a whole debate altogether. Not something I really want to get into.
Yeah. I think, because but Garby's always questioned, whereas Eren's not. Eren is just, his path is already set, and this will happen, sort of thing. Garby, on the other hand, is kind of treated to the fact that all her ideas are questioned and critiqued, and that's when she finally arrives at, I'm not gonna rush into war, but I'm gonna go farming, sort of thing. Like, if war comes about, so be it. But
on that, I will say, going back to the rumbling, he almost achieved what he wanted to, but did he get world peace? No, because during the rumbling, I remember watching the finale with you, and I looked at you just like, shh. Even now, oh my gosh, they're nailing this. You've got a group of survivors, the last 20% of humanity left to exist, and the Malians and the subjects of Ymir are still bickering. They're still just like turning around. This is all your fault. And then they pull up a gun, just like, we just want to live just like you. You don't deserve to live. Why not? It's not our fault. It literally is. And then you've got people coming in between, just like, oh, God's sake, stop fighting.
Yeah.
You got to work together and we're going to live. Does the conflict end there? Of course it doesn't. The rumbling is stopped, and we go to the New World, and we find out the subjects of Ymir on the islands rally up on the troops, and Historia is just like, no, we're going to defend ourselves. We need to show that we're still strong despite the Titans aren't existing. Everyone out is just like, Eren came from there. Like, wankers, basically. Yeah. You basically destroyed 80% of humanity. You can't see, you're like, yeah.
It's that really kind of annoying scenario where we see it play out just in real time, where
it don't end.
You see one bad person act out, and then because that person has similar characteristics as somebody else,
yes,
they're then painted with that same brush. It's kind of difficult because while it's not clean.
Yeah.
I'm going to use history. I'm going to use Nazis maybe as a good way to kind of.
It's fine.
To paint it, where, because Hitler, whether we like it or not, is such a poignant figure in the fact that he created so much damage, all that stuff, and so much sort of humiliation and destruction. Like, we then paint all the Germans the same way. And there's really interesting, like, granted, you have to defend yourself if a German person is acting out or creating harm, you have to defend yourself. If he runs by the same ideology as Hitler, defend yourself and all that stuff. However, there's a really awesome true story that was in the German regime, Operation Valkyrie, where they aren't happy with Hitler being the
taking the rep for the country.
Like being a leader.
A bad name.
And they do work in Iran. Because they haven't got a choice. They're sort of conscripted into the German army. They hate it, but their idea is that if we can work within the ranks and then we can do justice. We can do justice this way. I kind of think that kind of shows that parallel between, yes, people can do bad things, and you have to recognise that. But at the same time, there has to be that sort of recognition that maybe not everyone, maybe their colour, they painted it in the same colours. They're not all like that, and trying to work out when is the right time to defend and when is the right time maybe to negotiate again. That really kind of difficult decision between, even from the modern standpoint, cultures not interacting, but also at the same time some cultures are interacting. And if there are cultures that are interacting inside that system, how do you negotiate them rather than people that cause you issues, sort of thing?
Sorry if there was a weird cut there, guys. I needed to go to the loo. Right. So I've had many people call Hitler a very clever politician. Because he swooped in when the country was in ruin, and used that to gain the favour of everyone to come to power. And as soon as he was into power, he used his ideologies of peace to the world and into his country, which resulted in conflict and the loss of so many lives. He was a madman. He was. I am going to go out and say it. He was evil. He was an evil man. There's no if and but about it.
No.
He was a villain, awful person. But if we're using this example, does he reflect the nature of the rest of his country?
No,
absolutely not. There were men that looked up to him and said, "Look, you've got your idea of your world, and I want to be by your side because you have good vision." Whereas there were many men that were just soldiers following orders. Many Nazis that were just like, like you said with Operation Valkyrie. No, I don't agree with what you're doing. I'm being told to because if I disobey an order, then
I'll get shot, or my family gets shot.
God, he was a madman. Dictatorship, honestly. He was a dictator, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's that really hard thing where you want to defend your life, granted.
Yeah.
And I spoke about it before on the previous podcast where you delay, you can't let someone else's trauma delay your act if you need to defend yourself, sort of thing. But it's that really hard sort of decision it's like, if you're working in that scenario, how do you first filter, knowing in regards to who is really a screw loose?
Yes.
And who is not, and who you could maybe work with.
Yeah.
Because you know, there's multiple examples where someone might be the opposition, but they're willing to interact with you and have conversations, and again work out the middle ground.
Yeah.
It's just knowing how to do that as a whole.
Yeah, of course.
Because you know, there's always going to be sad stories. You can't get away from that. Unfortunately, like I'm sure
there will always be tragedy. There will always be conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no escaping it.
There's no escaping it. But like
human nature is to defend.
Yeah.
You know?
If you can work out who's who, there's maybe a better chance with regards to working out a better situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you just look at it, if the Marlians decided to come to the island and make a deal with King Fritz, like, you keep your island, we'll keep ours. Clearly met two men that want peace, but they didn't, because they feared the original Titan from King Fritz and Ymir. They feared that power. Like that power could destroy us. He could literally use that at any time and stomp over the sea and would be done for. With fear comes a fight or flight response. You either oppose it, destroy it, and get rid of it, or try to, or flight, or you run. Like, not going to be able to, not honestly going to be able to get me. Fight or flight was the best way to represent the rumbling as well.
Yeah.
Everyone was running.
Yeah.
What good could humans do against, like, mile-high titans? We saw the Navy pull up literally the entire military Navy turn up. They only took out a couple out of the thousands of colossal titans. And even them, just minimum effort, the titans destroyed them. What good could they do? They fought, but they fought to the last breath.
Yeah.
Everyone else, they ran. What good could they do? There's no running from that sort of stuff. It was just sheer ruination, destruction. And the fact that Eren could turn around and just say, I did this for you guys.
Yeah.
For you, my small group of friends. I did all of this to you so you could be perceived as heroes.
Here's my gift.
Just like, essentially, you stopped the great evil Eren, you're welcome. It's basically like, whoa. But your friends came from this island. They're going to know that you were their friend. So he is flawed massively in his justification from this. And he really... The broken part about that is Eren knew that.
Yeah.
He reveals it at the very last second. It's like, yeah, I know. All of this is fucks.
Yeah.
This is awful. You see the look of horror on his face when he reveals to Armin, I've killed 80% of humanity. I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I've done it. Armin is horrified. Eren is horrified. Why did you do that? He's like, I did it for you. Is it the right thing? No, but I did it for you because I wanted you to be safe. Like, what the fuck, Eren? Yeah.
It's kind of, again, it's what we were like, well, one, Eren didn't think to have a proper conversation with Armin in the first place. And two, Armin didn't think to have a proper conversation with Eren. Like, they're both, I see them both at fault in that regard, to a degree.
Yeah.
Like, they should have both talked it out sooner because of the destruction that was.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, oh God. I mean, Armin did try and talk people out of conflict.
Yeah.
Armin could have done. He really tried with Eren, but he snapped when he basically said, like, Mikasa is a robot. How could you say that? He jumps over the table and he smacked Eren. That Armin isn't the type of guy to do that. So of course Eren had the upper hand there. It was just like, what are you doing, Armin?
Yeah.
He's like, this isn't you. Yeah. You're a talker and you want to fight me now? Like, no, it's not.
Yeah. I mean, Armin, we introduced at the start, like, being that sort of very soft, sort of docile bloke. And, I think what could have done Armin favours in sort of revision of it is, like, being more forward in regards to sort of like in being more forward in having those conversations, or being more forward in his actions, generally speaking.
Yeah.
You know, but again, just that balance in regards to sort of like being forward enough to have difficult conversations and forward enough to sort of hold his ground, but also having the sort of strength to pull back when needed.
Honestly, this is just what makes him the most underrated character in the show.
Yeah.
I find a lot of people give Armin grief because he isn't the vision that Urban wanted him to be.
Yeah.
And I would contest that. Like, sure, Armin throughout the entire show in series 4 essentially does little to nothing but support Eren and make wrong decisions. And everyone's like, oh, Irvin sacrificed himself for nothing. Like, Levi made the wrong decision. I actually reply to that and say, I beg to differ. I honestly do. Armin is the best of us. He is. And he keeps making that decision right until the last moment. Whereas in episode 12, we discuss Armin in quite a lot of depth, I'd say. He has to become the weapon. He has to end. His justification is, I have to come in and I have to put a stop to this. I've tried reasoning with Eren in every possible way, and basically 80% of humanity is gone. I'm not getting through to him. What do you do in that moment?
Yeah, I think
you can't bargain with a madman at that moment in time.
No.
When they're 80% through their homicidal plan.
Yeah. I mean, interesting thing between Armin and Owen is Owen could very much hold a room. Like, when Owen spoke, he would...
Optimus
everyone
Prime.
sort of looked at him and kind of went, okay, we're listening to you, sort of thing. Armin had to learn that. Armin, I mean...
People look and they saw weakness.
Yeah.
They didn't... Armin did not inspire people.
Speaking from my own experience in regards to that, like, it's a lot in regards to if you stutter and if your voice cracks, a lot of people in a room will just, I'm not interested. But if you can, I wouldn't even say shout, because shouting was a sign of weakness as well. If you can kind of have a stern enough voice in which you can speak to a lot of people, that's kind of where the power sort of lies. That sort of middle ground between,
respect.
Yeah,
I'd say I'd the core of it. People give you attention out of a curiosity or respect.
Yeah,
you need one of them. If you don't stem any curiosity or you have a lot of disrespect, people will not listen to you. And if they appear like they are, they're not. If they watch out of irritation and anger.
Yeah.
The news do it. I say perfectly. I'm not going to endorse this. I despise it. Fear mongering. They label the worst of the world because we're not watching it out of curiosity or respect. We're watching it out of fury. We get the attention because we're like, oh, how dare that the world and all of this stuff do it. And that's where the news get their views.
Yeah.
To be honest, there have been some segments of the news where they turn around and they give some genuinely nice stuff. And that's when I sit down and watch it. Like the other day, they were talking about like a game tournament or something. And I sat down and I was just like, here we go. This is nice.
Chess cafes.
Huh?
Chess cafes.
That's the one. It was the same thing. Yeah. But like, you see what I mean? You stand in front of a room and you tell you have the attention and respect of at least one person. I would say you've done a good job. Personally, the thing that's been told to me when I was a teacher is, if at the end of a really bad day of teaching, you still get through to one student, you've done your job.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair.
You know, if you have you need the respect of the room to be seen as a figure of authority and a figure of direction that you can help them. If you don't have the respect of the room, they're not going to listen.
Yeah.
You know? And to wean this away from that, let's talk back to Attack on Titan. If Armin wasn't respected, of course he wasn't respected by Flock and the Jaegerists as well, they're not going to listen to him. If Armin comes in at the end and basically said, like, we need to stop Eren, the the Jaegerists are going to turn around and just go like, Eren is your friend. You're not listening to your friend. You've been helping us, and now you're opposing us. Why should we respect you? Why should we listen to you? Why should this be the right thing?
Yeah, Flock and Armin, is that another
Flock versus Armin was
juxtaposition where Flock is very much a leader, and Armin still hasn't evolved yet to the point like he's still like he's getting there, but he's not quite there yet.
But I hate how well they did him.
Yeah, like Flock has that ability to sort of maybe have the charisma.
Flock got inspired.
Armin didn't have that. Armin was lucky in the fact that his core group of people his core group of people he had was strong. In regards to Armin's leadership at the time, he wasn't. What helped him was his team. Where Flock falls down is because his team was full of ideologues. After their fights are sort of getting close to tooth and nail, they're going, I can't fight anymore. I'll go down, sort of thing.
We saw the signs in Flock in series 3 when he tried to get Irvin back to life, because Irvin inspired Flock. Despite the fact that you're going to lose your life doing this, there's hope for a better world. And you've got to fight for that better world.
Yeah.
Flock got massively inspired by him in that moment. And he tried to save Irvin. But obviously Levi made the decision to revive Armin. You've got, obviously, people respect Armin. It's like, we know how good he is. He's a peacekeeper. He's a very lovely man. This is the right thing. And I loved that decision from the writers. From the original mangaka, to make Flock be the only one in that scene, basically say, you should have died. And everyone turned around like Flock, like, whoa, we got peace, we won. Flock, why are you mad? He's like, I know this is gonna carry on. The enemies are still out there. Irvin was going to be the one with the sense and direction. I don't trust you, Armin. And you guys you guys revived him out of the sheer decision that he's your friend. Whereas the real power and commander and inspiration is now not alive anymore. We have made a terrible mistake. And everyone's like, whoa, Flock, what are you talking? And he's just like, I'm just saying.
Well, I didn't push back on that. Well, I will not push back on you specifically, but I'll push back on that scene a little bit where, like, even Levi kind of pushes back on
oh God, yeah.
Goes, no, like, Armin isn't my friend. Like, if I think we spoke about it on last one. Where,
we did.
Where,
Episode 12 covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, where Levi would, if we're picking friends, Levi would pick Eren over Armin. And he even says as much after Eren's after Armin has been revived. I think it's interesting where Flock almost becomes a zealot.
Easily he becomes a zealot. Yeah.
To Eren's kind of philosophy, like Eren's philosophy is good because it has function. But I think where it falls down is where there was a lot of lives lost.
Oh God!
When Eren is leading a charge or sort of stuff or anything like that, like it's cool, it does a job, but there's a loss of flaws in.
There's still a lot of sacrifice.
The difference between Erwin and Armin is Armin would try and preserve life as much as he could. Like, there'll still be lives lost.
Yeah.
His first port call is, how do I preserve my team compared to...
What's the line that I cross?
Yeah. Well,
and there was a line. We saw Armin have to cross that line. What's his justification? Basically the end of the world.
Yeah.
He crosses that line because he's got no other choice.
Yeah.
It goes to show you that there is a line and you have to cross it. I mean, honestly, if I was in Armin's position at that point and I realised that I had to stop Eren, I too would be like, oh, I've got to do this. I can't let the world die. Yeah. Everyone's got a limit. Everyone's obliged to go over that limit. It's just the justification of when and how and why.
Yeah.
You know? It's tough.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not saying it's an easy thing to break down.
No.
Hell, we're struggling to do it now. It's so tough. But Attack on Titan really represents that well, I'd say. Like, the cycle of conflict never ends and never will. But what power do you hold throughout that to make the decisions to do the right thing? And when are those decisions that you ultimately decide to make going to end in the loss of more lives and ruin? You know, it's
I think and able to kind of maybe end this off in a kind of good way, and maybe
I was always headed towards
and maybe kind of give a direction in regards to maybe we've said it before, but maybe in the same sort of stick to a degree, where you're gonna make mistakes in your choices, and that's okay. Much like Batman, where a lot of his choices are morally grey. You know, try, if you can, make the good choices. Like, you won't be Superman.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Ugh.
You know,
I mean, hopefully.
no, too.
Don't want to be Superman. Fingers crossed.
Superman is that fairy tale dream. Is like, oh, yay, we could do this. It's like,
so much.
But in regards to the good decisions, like, and you may have to make some hard choices. If you can be good in those choices, do that. Just be good.
Yeah,
just
be good.
Just be good.
I think I'd say you need to do you. You need to be happy at the end of the day. Eren stuck with his guns. Eren stuck with his whims, but it wasn't the right thing to do because he stuck with his mentality of just like, I will avenge my mother. I will avenge all that has fallen. Take it out in the world and be what people want me to be, so I can help them. Was it the good thing to do? Was it the right thing to do? We ultimately saw an alternate life where he was with Mikasa. They had children together, probably children together.
Yeah.
And they lived peacefully on the island of Ymir. That's a good thing. We saw it was possible. Eren in that moment was just like, I wanted this. I know you wanted this. But we weren't in the right state of mind to get to this. So unfortunately, we're here now.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. It's love. Love brings out the worst of us, but it also brings out the beauty and the best of us, I'd say. You've just got to be with the right person in the right time, not the right part of the world, in the right part of your life, I'd say. It's to go to another deeper level of Attack on Titan. It is also a story of love.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the motivations are kind of drawn off that.
Yeah.
As you said before, where we started. Can't remember his name now.
Who?
That's it. Yeah,
Grishna.
You know, Grishna's is to protect his family.
Yeah, that's the core of it.
And then Mikasa, Eren
wants to protect Eren,
and then Eren kind of his family to a weird degree. And
if you look at the end of the show as well, and massive spoilers for everyone that watch Attack on Titan, the post-credit scene of the finale, it's like a cyber utopian / dystopian apocalyptic future where a small boy walks along with his dog. What's his story? Yeah. You don't need to know. He's probably an orphan. Like, avenging his family. He walks into the tree. It's going to happen all over again. He's going to meet the primordial Eren Titan. He's become the next Titan in this version of the future. There will always be the innocent boy in a world of conflict, or the innocent person, that gains the power to or sorry, the innocent person that gets the power, to end conflict, has that line that they could or could not cross. And when they cross it, what do they become? An Attack on Titan represents that in a physical representation. What do you become? You become a monster.
Yeah.
But humans monsters as well. They're underneath the surface. Who's the true monster? The monster or the human? What happens then? You're trying to stop war and conflict, but it won't ever stop because you're fighting, and when you fight, you cause more people to fight. When you take a life, you will cause someone to say, "I'm going to take revenge." You know?
It's
a cycle. Yeah.
It is a cycle. I'm going to say probably slightly controversial, but it kind of will work. Where as much as war and conflict is a harsh truth and harsh reality,
awful.
It does set rules to that new civilization as to what rules are then set. And then that order is then lived. And then when that order begins to break down, another war comes about. And then those new rules and those new social rules are reset and readjusted for that new social rules that have come about. And then the cycle continues.
Okay. Yeah. War is war.
Yeah.
It brings out. It's just awful, and it's at the end of the day caused by visions of dictatorship and control to protect, and if not to protect, to get about their vision of safety and their vision of perfection. And can you get to that without conflict? You can, but sometimes it's human nature to defend and to destroy.
I think it's yes and no. Like, granted, yeah, some will defend in regards to using violence, but some will not have a reason for it and just use it.
Some people have no moral compass.
Yes.
That's real.
Or they just have ambition, like massive ambition, and they'll just cause destruction as well.
Sociopathic tendencies.
Yeah.
And psychopathic as well.
Yeah.
It's real. Like there are people that will genuinely have no concept of humility, no concept of shame, no concept of consequence as well. That's very real. Everyone is different. And I'm not saying just like we have to find these people and lock them away. Like, no. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying everyone is different, embrace the differences, love the differences. That makes us who we are. It's just find that middle ground, you know?
Yeah. Middle ground coexistence.
Why can't we be friends?
Yeah.
Why can't we? That should have been the final song in Attack on Titan. Why can't we be friends? The dance number from Eren, like, hey, we're all okay now. I think that's a nice place to end it, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Why can't we be friends?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, guys. Well, that was a heavy one, and I know Elliott's feeling it, and I'm feeling it from that conversation. That was heavy. That was a lot. But we needed to. We needed to talk about that because that was the core message of Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
So to talk about an anime like that and to not talk about that would be basically to miss the point.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're done now. We're done with our Attack on the Titan agenda, and we're done with the first half of me time. Try not to cry, it's okay. We'll be back. And at the time of this episode upload, we will be returning with Me Time episode 14 on the 7th of June.
What's the thing I've forgotten?
What's the thing?
What's the thing I've forgotten? What's the agenda?
Well, we're not going to say.
Okay.
We're not going to say. Wait. Just wait. You know what? No, that's cruel. I can't give people nothing to look onto. So this time next week, because we did say that we were going to reveal things in episode 13. This time next week, at the usual upload time, we are going to have the official announcement and trailer of what to expect from the second half of Me Time and what to expect from our absence this month as well, because we have said you are going to have content this month. Whilst me and Elliott are away, doing things and holiday, I'll be obviously still uploading to MJ Media with the D&D. Other projects as well are in the works, as you can see from the update video, if you want to watch that as well. But yeah, so everything will be explained in thorough detail next week. But to give you a little prelude, because it's coming on the 7th of June, Me Time episode 14, our next agenda is going to be much more different to what we've discussed so far. We've been very specific with what we wanted to talk about. So we're going to be a bit more broad this time. And our next agenda is going to be, do you remember? Cinema.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
Cinema. Because I'm a big sucker at cinema. And so we're going to be talking about a lot of broad topics about what makes cinema, what we enjoy about cinema, what state the cinema is in at the moment, etc. This, that, and the other. So that is your prelude to that. So that's our that's our 5th agenda, isn't it? Yeah. My hero, Marvel, Batman, Attack on Titan. Yeah, cinema's our 5th agenda.
Oh boy.
So yeah, so stay tuned for the trailer next week. That's going to explain basically what to expect from the entire half of the second half of Me Time, what's to come in May whilst we're not uploading new content. And yeah, we're cooking.
Yeah. We're
cooking. Excellent.
Yeah.
And to show that this is the end. It's for now, for about a month, to show that I mean it. See you later. Love ya.
See you soon.
Come on, Elliott. We've got to celebrate. They don't know that, but we do. Subscribe.